The problem with ceramic shell, it's so tough to get off, unlike investment casting. Will be added to my bronze collection, and it will be used at some point in the future. The sprue bases are quite thick and they'd be a pain to remove, but I wanted to make sure there'd be no shrinkage because these sculptures are solid. I've been doing this for decades now, but I still haven't got around to getting a decent sandblasting cabinet. I've always made do with these sort of boxes. However, that's just changed because I've just purchased a lovely shiny new sandblasting cabinet. So in future videos you'll see me using the proper gear. Now to cut off those tricky screw pieces. It's quite close to the rod, which will be threaded and used to attach the sculpture to the base. They're very close together, so it's quite easy to cut it accidentally. Okay, now the worst part, chasing the bronze. So it's removing all imperfections, any kind of flashing, basically anything that shouldn't be there. It's quite a time-consuming process. After I've done this once, I will then sandblast it so I can see if there's any more things that need correcting. And I'd probably do this chasing probably about 3 times. That dog is another sculpture I'm doing at the same time. Now I'll sandblast for a second time. Sandblasting gives a nice clean surface, which makes identifying any defects easier. I will then chase them again and repeat as many times as I need to till it's as perfect as I can get it. At this stage I'm using aluminium oxide as a blasting media. It's quite aggressive, so it does clean them up pretty well. You can see I've nicked a knee here with the angle grinder when I was cutting it off the sprues. That's going to need a little bit of welding. Freeze frame the video here, you'll see a similar nick from the angle grinder on the foot. So the next part of the process is cutting a thread on that rod. That'll enable me to bolt the thing through the stone base. Just using the file to round the end off so I can just start the die off easier. Just making slight adjustments to that rod so it's 90 degrees to the base of the sculpture. Okay, so here I'm just making a little template of the bottom of the sculpture, so I can then apply that template to the top of the stone base, so I can then mark out precisely where the hole is to be drilled. It should all make sense in a minute. It turns out that the hole will be drilled pretty much in the centre. It's not always the case. It depends on the shape and the size of the base. I've got these little diamond core drills that you can get from China. They're pretty disposable things, but they do the job and they're dirt cheap. This larger bit will not go right through, it'll just go a centimetre or so in, and it's to create a recess where the nut will sit. Sometimes that bit in the middle will break out easily, you can just snap it out, but in this instance it didn't. So I'm just using that flat diamond bit just to flatten it down. This is soapstone, by the way, just in case you didn't know. It's a very soft stone and it's dead easy to cut. So now I'm going to use these diamond pads to polish it up. Get a nice smooth surface on it, and then I'll just put a bit of wax on it as well, just to shine it up a bit more. Use water for the finer grits, it gives a better finish. I'm only using a little bit of water, it's not enough to do any damage to that polisher, it's being flung out way past the polisher. Okay, after going through all those, you can see the difference. So after more chasing, I'm going to give it another sandblast with aluminium oxide. This should be the final blast with aluminium oxide. So that's all 4 of them done. I'll follow this now finally with some glass beads. Glass beads are not so abrasive and they give a nice sort of silky smooth sheen to the bronze, which is ideal then for patination. You can see the difference there with the one that's blasted with aluminium oxide and the one that's just been blasted with the glass beads. So now I'm making a dilute solution of liver sulfur. I intend to do a very light patination on these. I don't want them to be too dark because I know over time they will naturally start to darken. So just leave them in this bath for a few minutes. Okay, you can see how they've darkened up. So I'll now rub back the liver of sulfur just to really show the highlights and keep the liver of sulfur in the recesses and the shadow areas. You can see the difference there after it's been rubbed back. I'm going to give it a bit of a blast with a torch. This is just going to darken it slightly and make it less contrasty. The sculptures are basically going to be the same patina. The only difference is going to be the hair. So I'm going to use ferric nitrate and a little bit of iron oxide. And then I will apply that hot. And then build it up gradually, layer by layer. It's quite a dilute solution, so it will require quite a few layers to build it up to the colour I want. Normally I would paint this on, but I've decided to use an airbrush. It seems to give a nicer uniform colour. Painting on by paintbrush can tend to leave it a bit blotchy. Again, I'm just sort of rubbing it back a bit and then reapplying the patina. What this will do is make it a bit darker in all the recesses. and lighter on the higher points. It'll make it look a bit more three-dimensional and less flat. The airbrush is quite accurate and you can sort of direct the patina where you want to, but there's always a little bit of overspray, so I'm just using a wire brush here now to remove the overspray from the face and the neck and the ears. Now that I removed some of the patina from the face, I've just got to remove it from the body as well so it matches. So it looks a little bit contrasty now, so I'm just going to give it a final blast with the heat, and that will sort of darken it all more uniformly. It'll still leave some shadows in the recesses, but it will be less contrasty. There'll be less difference between the highlights and the shadows. So this one's going to have jet black hair. It's very simple patina. You just apply liver of sulphur hot, quite concentrated. Again, there's a little bit of overspray which needs removing, and as with the previous one, because I've taken the patina off the face, I'll have to redo the body as well just so it matches. Again, a final blast with a torch, just to sort of darken it and make it a bit less contrasty. Looks like I've done this a couple of times for this one. And I think that's pretty much finished. Okay, the blonde is going to be very straightforward. Basically, I just use the wire brush and just remove any trace of patina right down to the bronze. So it will give a very light golden colour, but even though it's waxed, it will still darken over time, so it won't look this bright indefinitely. And finally the ginger, which is basically just a fairly dilute ferric nitrate solution, and I apply that gradually, building it up layer by layer until it looks right. I think I dip in this one in a very dilute liver sulfur solution, because I probably thought it looked a bit too light. And then I'm just going to give it a blast with the heat again, and that should darken the whole thing up a bit. A quick blast with the air gun, just to get off the get all the water off. I will be doing a lot more of these videos in the future, but I don't do them on a regular basis, so if you want to not miss them, just subscribe. I don't have any subscribers, so it'd be great to have a few more. And finally, wax. This is beeswax. It's a pure beeswax. It's white, so it doesn't discolour the bronze, and it's just dissolved in a bit of turpentine. So I will apply that, and then I'll let it dry for a day or so, and then I will buff it with a nylon brush in a Dremel. And that's done. Got some weird lighting on this display. They don't actually look that yellow. It's just the light I've used above them, which makes them look more yellow than they actually are. So keep your eye out for some more videos in the future. I don't know when I'll be doing them. Maybe a week, 2 weeks, who knows.